my dear Rita.
Is that you, Asta? Come all the way from town so early?
Yes, I felt I must come out today and see how Little Eyolf was getting on, and you too. So I took the steamer and here I am.
And I dare say you met one or other of your friends on board, quite by chance, of course.
No, I did not meet a soul I knew. Has Alfred come home?
Yes, only think. He came quite unexpectedly by the late train last night.
Oh, then that was what my feeling meant. It was that drew me out here. And he hadn't written a line to let you know.
Not a single word.
And is he quite well, not in low spirits?
He looked quite transfigured as he stood in the doorway.
And was he not the least bit tired either?
He seemed to be tired enough. Very tired, in fact. But, poor fellow, he had come on foot the greater part of the way.
And then perhaps the high mountain air may have been rather too keen for him.
Oh, no, I haven't heard him cough once.
Ah, there you see now. It was a good thing, after all, that the doctor talked him into taking this tour.
Yes, now that it is safely over. Oh, but I can tell you it has been a terrible time for me, Asta. And you so seldom came out to see me too.
Yes, I dare say that wasn't very nice of me, but...
Well, of course, you had your school to attend to in town. And then our road maker friend. Of course, he was away too.
Don't talk like that, Rita.
Very well, then. We will leave the road maker out of the question. Oh, you can't think how I have been longing for Alfred. How empty the place seemed, how desolate. Oh, it felt as if there had been a funeral in the house.
Oh, dear me, only 6 or 7 weeks.
Yes, but you must remember that Alfred has never been away from me before. Never so much as 24 hours. Not once in all these 10 years.
No, but that is just why I really think it was high time he should have a little outing this year. He ought to have gone for a tramp in the mountains every summer. He really ought.
Yeah, it's all very well for you to talk. If I were as reasonable as you, I suppose I should have let him go before, perhaps. Oh, but I positively could not, Asta. It seemed to me I should never get him back again. Surely you can understand that.
No, but I dare say that is because I have no one to lose.
Really? No one at all?
Not that I know of. But tell me, Rita, where is Alfred? Is he still asleep?
Oh, not at all. He got up as early as ever today.
Then he can't have been so very tired after all.
Yes, he was last night when he arrived. But now he has had Little Eyolf with him in his rooms for a whole hour and more.
Poor little white-faced boy. Has he to be forever at his lessons again? I think you ought to put your foot down about it, Rita.
Oh, no, come now. I really cannot meddle with that. Well, Alfred knows so much better about these things than I do. What would you have Eyolf do? He can't run about and play like other children.
I will talk to Alfred about this.
Yes, do. I wish you would. Oh, here he is.
Asta, my dearest Asta, to think of my seeing you so soon.
Welcome home.
Thank you for coming.
Doesn't he look well?
Splendid, quite splendid. His eyes are so much brighter, and I suppose you have done a good deal of writing on your travels. I shouldn't wonder if you had finished the whole book, Alfred.
The book? Oh, the book.
Yes, I was sure you would find it so easy when you got away.
Well, so I thought too. But the truth is, I've not written a line of the book.
Not a line. But my dear Alfred, what have you been doing all this time?
Only thinking and thinking.
And thinking a little too of those you had left at home.
Yes, you may be sure of that. I thought a great deal of you every single day.
That is all I care about.
But you haven't even touched the book, and yet you can look so happy and contented. That is not what you generally do. I mean, when your work is going badly.
You're right there. You see, I've been such a fool hitherto. All the best that is in you goes into thinking. What you put on paper is worth very little.
Worth very little?
What an absurd thing to say, Alfred.
Well, since you say so. But I can tell you someone's coming after me who will do it better. Then I will go up to the mountains again, up to the peaks and the great waste places. You shouldn't have given Eyolf clothes like that, Rita.
Oh, he's teased me so long about them. Well, he had his heart set on them. He gave me no peace.
Well, we shall see. Eyolf had better go down to the beach to the other boys.
No, he won't go down to the beach today.
Why not?
Well, because he has those clothes on.
Do you mean that they make fun of his pretty clothes?
I suppose they are jealous of him. Oh, for they are so poor, they have to go about barefoot.
Oh, Rita. How it wrings my heart.
There.
But these rascals shall soon find out who is the master down at the beach. Is that your briefcase, Asta?
Yes, I have some of the old letters in it.
Ah, the family letters.
You know you asked me to arrange them for you while you were away.
And you've actually found time to do that?
Oh yes, I've done it partly out here and partly at my own rooms in town.
Well, thanks. Do you find anything particular in them?
Oh, you always find something or other in such old papers. It is the letters to Mother that are in this portfolio.
Well, those, of course, you must keep yourself.
And no, I am determined that you shall look through them, Alfred, sometime.
Dear Astra, I shall never read your mother's letters.
Then sometime or other, some quiet evening, I will tell you a little of what is in them.
Yes, I think that will be much better. But you keep your mother's letters. You haven't so many mementos of her.
What is it that has happened to you, Alfred?
To me?
Yes, something has happened. Something seems almost to have transformed you. Rita noticed it too.
I saw it the moment you came. A change for the better, I hope, Alfred.
Well, it ought to be for the better, and it must and shall come to good.
You have had some adventure on your journey. Don't deny it. I can see it in your face.
No adventure in the world. Well, outwardly at least. But? Well, it is true that within me there's been something of a revolution.
Oh, heavens.
Only for the better, my dear Rita. You may be perfectly certain of that.
You must tell us all about it, at once.
Well, when I look back over my life and my fortunes for the last 10 or 11 years, it seems to me almost like a fairy tale or a dream. When I remember what we two used to be, Asta, two poor orphan children, and now here I am in comfort and luxury. I've been able to work and study, and all this good fortune we owe to you, my dearest Rita.
I wish you would stop talking like that.
I speak of it only as a sort of introduction.
Well, then do skip the introduction.
Rita, you mustn't think it was the doctor's advice that drove me up to the mountains.
What was it then?
I found there was no more peace for me there in my study.
No peace? Why, who disturbed you?
Well, no one from without. But I felt as though I were wasting my best powers, frittering away the time.
When you were writing at your book?
For I cannot think that my powers are confined to that alone. I must surely have it in me to do one or two other things as well.
Was that what you sat there brooding over?
Yeah, mainly. There I sat bent over my table day after day, writing the great big book on human responsibility.
But Alfred, that book is to be your life work.
Yes, you've said so often enough.
Yeah.
Well, I thought so. Ever since I grew up, I have thought so. And it was you that enabled me to devote myself to it, my dear Rita.
Oh, nonsense.
You with your gold and your green forests.
If you begin all that rubbish again, I shall beat you.
But the book, Alfred?
Well, it began, as it were, to drift away from me. But I was more and more beset by the thought of the higher duties that laid their claims upon me.
Alfred.
The thought of Eyolf, my dear Rita.
Ah, of Eyolf.
Poor little Eyolf has taken deeper and deeper hold of me after that unlucky fall from the table. And especially since we've been assured that the injury is incurable.
But you take all the care you possibly can of him, Alfred.
As a schoolmaster, yes. But it is as a father that I want henceforth to be to Eyolf.
I don't think I quite understand you.
I mean that I will try with all my might to make his misfortune as painless and easy to him as it can possibly be.
Oh, but dear, thank heaven, I don't think he feels it so deeply.
Yes, Rita, he does.
Yes, you may be sure he feels it deeply.
But Alfred, what more can you do for him?
I will help him to bring his desires into harmony with what lies attainable before him. Eyolf shall carry on my life work, if he wants to, or he shall choose one that is altogether his own. At all events, I shall let mine rest as it is.
But Alfred, dear, can you not work both for yourself and for Eyolf?
No, I cannot. It is impossible. I cannot divide myself in this matter, and therefore I efface myself. Eyolf shall be the complete man of our race, and it shall be my new life work to make him the complete man.
This must have cost you a terribly hard struggle, Alfred.
Well, yes, it has. At home here, I should never have conquered myself, never brought myself to the point of renunciation.
Then that was why you went away this summer.
Yes. I went up into the infinite solitudes. I felt myself nearer the stars. I seemed almost to be in sympathy and communion with them. And then I found the strength for it.
But you will never write any more of your book on human responsibility.
No, never, Asta. I tell you, I cannot split up my life between two vocations, but I will act out my human responsibility in my own life.
Do you think you can live up to such high resolves at home here?
Well, with you to help me, I can, and with you too, Asta.
Oh, with both of us. So after all, you can divide yourself.
My dearest Rita.
Mr. Borgheim! Asta, would you not like to take a little walk?
No, thank you. Not now, not today.
Asta, you really must go with him.
But my dear Rita. Very well. Suppose we take a stroll in the garden then.
While you're there, can you see what Eyolf is doing? Rita, do you think there's anything between those two?
I don't know what to say. I used to think there was, but Asta has grown so strange of late.
Has he? Well, I've been away. And you think he doesn't care very much about him now?
Not seriously. Would it displease you if he did?
Well, it wouldn't exactly displease me, but it would certainly be a disquieting thought.
Disquieting?
Well, yes, you must remember that I'm responsible for Asta, for his life's happiness.
Oh, come. Responsible. As surely Asta is capable of choosing for himself.
Yes, we must hope so, Rita.
For my part, I don't think at all ill of Mr. Borgheim.
No, dear, nor do I. But all the same.
And I should be very glad indeed if he and Asta were to make a match of it.
Oh? Why should you be?
Why, for then he would have to go far, far away with him, and he could never come out here to us as he does now.
What? Can you really wish Asta to go away?
Yes, Alfred, for then at last I should have you to myself. And yet not even then, not wholly to myself. Oh, Alfred, I cannot give you up.
My dearest Rita, do be reasonable.
I don't care a bit about being reasonable. I care only for you and all the world. Oh, if you knew how I have hated you.
Hated me?
Yes, when you shut yourself up in your room and brooded over your work till long, long into the night. Oh, how I hated your work.
But now I've done with that.
Oh, yes. Now you have given yourself up to something worse.
Worse? Do you call a child something worse?
Yes, I do. As he comes between you and me. The book was not a living being as the child is. But I won't endure it, Alfred. I will not endure it. I tell you so plainly.
I'm often almost afraid of you, Rita.
I am often afraid of myself. For that very reason, you must not awake the evil in me.
Why, good heavens, do I do that?
Yes, you do. When you tear to shreds the holiest bonds between us.
Think of what you're saying, Rita. It is your own child that you're speaking of.
The child is only half mine. But you shall be mine alone. You shall be wholly mine. That I have a right to demand of you.
My dear Rita, it is of no use demanding anything. Everything must be freely given.
And that you cannot do henceforth.
No, I cannot. I must divide myself between Eyolf and you.
But if Eyolf had never been born, what then?
Oh, well, that would be another matter. Then I should only have you to care for.
Then I wish he had never been born.
Rita, you don't know what you're saying.
It was in pain unspeakable that I brought him into the world, but there it must end. I will live my life together with you, wholly with you. I cannot go on being only Eyolf's mother and nothing more. I will not, I tell you, I cannot. I will be all to you, Alfred.
But that is just what you are, Rita. Through our child.
No, Alfred, I am not to be put off like that. I was fitted to become the child's mother, but not to be a mother to him.
And yet you used to be so fond of Eyolf.
I was so sorry for him, because you troubled yourself so little about him. You kept him reading and grinding at books. You scarcely even saw him.
No, I was blind. The time had not yet come for me.
But now I suppose it has come.
Yes, at last. Now I see that the highest task I can have in the world is to be a true father to Eyolf.
And what will you be to me?
I will always go on caring for you, with calm, deep tenderness.
I don't care a bit for your calm, deep tenderness. I want you utterly and entirely, just as I had you in the first rich, beautiful days. Never, never will I consent to be put off with scraps and leavings, Alfred.
I should have thought there was happiness in plenty for all three of us, Rita.
Then you are easy to please. Now, listen to me. Yesterday evening, I dressed myself in white. I let down my hair so that it flowed over my neck and shoulders.
I saw it. Oh, how lovely you were, Rita.
We were alone, and there was champagne on the table.
I did not drink any of it.
No, that is true. There stood the champagne, but you tasted it not, as the poet says.
I was so taken up with serious thoughts. I'd made up my mind to talk to you of our future, Rita, and first and foremost, about Eyolf.
And so you did.
No, I had not time to, for you began to undress.
Yes, and meanwhile you talked about Eyolf, don't you remember? You wanted to know all about little Eyolf's digestion.
Rita!
And then you got into your bed and slept the sleep of the just. There stood your champagne, but you tasted it not.
No, I did not taste it.
You ought not to be so indifferent. Never in a single thought have I been untrue to you, Alfred, never for an instant.
No, Rita, I know that.
But if you disdain me...
Disdain? I don't understand what you mean.
If I should ever see that you did not care for me, that you did not love me as you used to.
But my dearest Rita, years bring a certain change with them, and that must one day occur even in us.
Never in me. And I will not hear of any change in you either. I could not bear it, Alfred. I want to keep you to myself alone.
You have a terribly jealous nature.
I can't make myself different from what I am. If you go and divide yourself between me and anyone else, then I will take my revenge on you, Alfred.
How take your revenge?
I will go and throw myself into the arms of the first man that comes my way.
That you will never do, my loyal, proud, true-hearted Rita.
Oh, you don't know what I might come to be if you did not love me anymore.
Rita, how can you say such a thing?
Why should I not spread my nets for that road maker that hangs about here?
Oh, thank goodness, you're only joking.
Not at all. He would do as well as any other man.
Ah, but I suspect he's more or less taken up already.
So much the better. For then I should take him away from someone else, and that is just what Eyolf has done to me.
Can you say that our little Eyolf has done that?
There, you see? The moment you mention Eyolf's name, you grow tender. Oh, you almost tempt me to wish.
What do I tempt you to wish, Rita?
No. No, I won't tell you that. Never.
Rita, I implore you, for my sake and for your own, do not let yourself be tempted into evil.
Yes, I have begun to believe in the evil eye, especially in a child's evil eye.
Rita, how can you?
It is you that makes me so wicked and hateful, Alfred.
Listen to all those people.
What do they say?
A child drowned.
Little boy, they say.
Oh, well, they can all swim, every one of them.
Where is Eyolf?
Keep quiet. Eyolf is down in the garden playing.
No, he isn't in the garden. Oh, if only it isn't he.
It isn't Eyolf. It isn't Eyolf, Rita.
Oh, hush, be quiet. Let me hear what they are saying.
What do they say?
So the crutch is floating.
No. No. No.
Eyolf.
Alfred, I have been searching for you.
Thank you.
Have you been sitting here long?
No, I cannot grasp it. It all seems so utterly impossible. Is it really true then, Asta? Or am I only dreaming? Just think, if I were to waken now.
Oh, if only I could waken you.
How pitiless the fjord looks today. Lying so heavy and drowsy and reflecting the rain clouds in the depths. Rushing undertow.
Oh, for God's sake, don't think of the depths.
I suppose you think he's lying close outside here. But he's not, Asta. You must remember how fiercely the current sweeps out here, straight to the open sea.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's passed so far, far away from us now.
Don't say such things, Alfred.
Why, you could reckon it out for yourself. You that are so clever. 8 and 20 hours, 9 and 20 hours, let me see.
Alfred!
Can you conceive of the meaning of a thing like this? For after all, there must be meaning in it. Life, existence, destiny cannot be so utterly meaningless.
Oh, who can say anything with certainty about these things?
Oh, no, I believe you're right there. Perhaps the whole thing goes simply by haphazard, taking its own course. Seems very like it. Perhaps you can unravel the mystery for me. I certainly cannot. Here is Eyolf, just entering upon conscious life, full of such infinite, splendid possibilities. It would have filled my life with pride and gladness.
We don't really know how it happened.
Oh, yes, we do. The boy saw Eyolf standing at the very end of the pier. Well, he seemed to turn giddy. And that's how he fell over and disappeared.
Yes, but all the same.
There is no retribution. The whole thing is utterly groundless and meaningless, Asta. And yet the order of the world requires it.
Have you spoken to Rita of these things?
I feel as if I can talk better to you about them. About everything else as well. What have you got there, Asta?
Some black crepe. Rita asked me to put it on. May I?
Oh, yes, as far as I'm concerned. Where is Rita?
She is walking about the garden a little, I think. Borgheim is with her.
Oh, indeed. Is Borgheim out here today again?
Yes, he came out by the midday train.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
He was so fond of Eyolf.
Borgheim is a faithful soul, Asta.
Yes, faithful he is indeed. That is certain.
And you are really fond of him.
Yes, I am.
And yet you cannot make up your mind to...
Oh, my dear Alfred, don't talk of that.
Tell me why you cannot.
No, well, please, really, you must not ask me. You see, it's so painful for me. There. Now, the hat is done.
Thank you.
And now, for the left arm.
Might to have crepe on it too?
Yes, that is the custom.
Well, as you please. This is like the old days. When you were a little boy, you used to sit just like this, mending my clothes. The first thing you ever sewed for me was black crepe too, around my student's cap. At the time of father's death?
Could I sew then? Fancy I have forgotten it.
And then 2 years afterwards, when we lost your mother, then again you sewed a big crepe band on my sleeve.
I thought it was the right thing to do.
Yes, yes, it was the right thing to do, Asta. And then, when we two were left alone in the world, you done already?
Yes. It was really a beautiful time for us, Alfred, we two alone.
Yes, it was. Though we had to toil so hard.
You toiled.
Oh, you toiled too, in your own way. I can assure you, my dear, faithful Eyolf.
You mustn't remind me of that stupid nonsense about the name.
Well, your mother wanted you to be called Eyolf, but father...
You were ashamed of me too?
No, it was you. You were ashamed.
Oh, yes, too, I perhaps a little. And somehow or other, I was sorry for you.
Yes, I believe you were. How serious we were, and how mightily pleased with ourselves. I always called you Eyolf.
Oh, Alfred. I hope you have never told Rita about this.
Oh, yes, I believe I did once tell her.
Oh, Alfred, how could you do that?
Well, you see, one tells one's wife everything, very nearly.
Yes, I suppose one does.
How can I sit here and...
What's the matter?
He had almost passed away from me. He had passed quite away.
Eyolf?
Here I sat living these recollections, and he had no part in them.
Yes, Alfred, little Eyolf was behind it all.
No, he was not. He slipped out of my thoughts. I didn't see him for a moment as I sat here talking to you. I utterly forgot him all that time.
But surely you must take some rest in your sorrow.
No. It's just what I must not do.
Hmm?
I must not. I must go out to see him, Asta. I will take the boat.
Alfred? Alfred! Don't go to the fjord. Don't go to the fjord.
No. I will not.
You must rest from your thoughts, Alfred. Now, we can talk a little again.
It was good to deaden the sorrow and heartache for a moment.
You must do so, Alfred.
Don't you think it's terribly weak and unfeeling of me to be able to do so?
No, I'm sure it is impossible to keep circling forever round one fixed thought.
Yes. Before you came to me, here I sat, torturing myself unspeakably with this crushing, gnawing sorrow, and would you believe it, Asta? In the midst of all the agony, I find myself speculating what we should have for dinner today.
Well, well, if only it rests you to...
Yes, just fancy. Seemed as if it did give me some rest. How good it is, Asta, that I have you here with me. I'm so glad of that. Glad even in my sorrow.
You ought most of all to be glad you have Rita.
Yes, of course I should. But Rita is no kin to me. It isn't like having a brother.
Do you say that, Alfred?
Yes, our family is a thing apart. We've always had vowels for our initials, and we all have the same color of eyes.
You think I have?
No. You take entirely after your mother. You're not in the least like the rest of us. Not even like father. But all the same, I believe that living together has, well, as it were, stamped us in each other's image. Mentally, I mean.
You must never say that, Alfred. It is only I that have taken my stamp from you, and it is to you that I owe everything, every good thing in the world.
You owe me nothing, Asta. On the contrary.
I owe you everything. You must never doubt that. No sacrifice has been too great for you.
Ah, nonsense. Don't talk of such a thing. I've only loved you. It always seemed to me that I had so much injustice to make up to you for.
Injustice?
Well, not precisely on my own account, but on father's.
Father, what do you mean by that, Alfred?
Father was never really kind to you.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, yes, it's true. He didn't love you. Not as he ought to have.
No, perhaps not as he loved you. That was only natural.
It was often hard to your mother, too.
Mother was so much younger than he, remember?
Do you think they were not quite suited to each other?
Perhaps not.
Yes, but still. Father, who in other ways was so gentle and warm-hearted and so kindly towards everyone.
Mother, too, was not always as she ought to have been.
Towards father, do you mean?
Yes.
I never noticed that.
Oh, my dear Alfred, let them rest, those who are gone.
It is they that won't let us rest, Asta.
Time will make it all seem easier, Alfred.
How am I going to get over these terrible first days? That's what I cannot imagine.
Go up to Rita. Oh, please do.
No, I cannot. I tell you, let me remain here with you.
Well, I will not leave you alone.
Thank you for that. Where is my little Eyolf now? Can you tell me that, my big wise Eyolf? No one in the world can tell me that. I only know that he's gone from me. Rita, why do you come here?
Only to look for you. What are you doing?
Nothing. Asta came to me.
Yes, but before Asta came, you have been away from me all morning.
I've been sitting here. I like best to be alone now.
And to stay in one place.
I've nothing in the world to move for.
And I cannot bear to be anywhere long. Don't you think you should come back with us?
No. Let me stay where I am.
Then I will stay with you, Alfred.
Very well. Do so then. You remain too, Asta.
I will go.
Can you think the thought, Alfred, that we have lost Eyolf?
We must accustom ourselves to think it.
I cannot. I got Borgheim to go down with me to the pier to question the boys as to how it happened.
But we know that.
I got to know more.
Well?
It is not true that he disappeared all at once. They say they saw him lying down at the bottom, deep down in the clear water.
And they didn't save him?
I suppose they could not.
They could swim. Every one of them.
They said he was lying on his back with great open eyes.
Open eyes. Still.
Yes, quite still. And then something came and swept him away. They called it the undertow.
And never will anyone see him again.
I shall see him day and night, as he lay down there with great open eyes. I see them. I see them now.
Were they evil, Rita? Were they evil eyes that stared up from the depths? Answer me. Were they a child's evil eyes?
Alfred!
Now things have come about, just as you wished, Rita.
What did I wish?
That Eyolf were not here.
Never for a moment have I wished that. That Eyolf should not stand between us, that was what I wished.
Well, he does not stand between us any more.
Perhaps now more than ever.
The child's evil eyes.
Oh, let me be, Alfred. I am afraid of you. I have never seen you like this before.
Sorrow makes us wicked and hateful. You never really and truly loved him. Never.
Eyolf would never let me take him really and truly to my heart.
Because you did not want to.
I did want to, but someone stood in the way, even from the first. His uncle.
Asta.
Yes, Asta stood and barred the way for me.
How can you say that, Rita?
He took him to his heart from the moment that happened, that miserable fall.
He did it in love.
The truth is, you have never had any real love for him either.
I have not.
You were so utterly taken up by that book of yours about responsibility.
Yes, but my very book I sacrificed for Eyolf's sake.
Oh, not out of love for him, but because you had begun to doubt whether you had any great vocation to live for in the world.
Could you see that in me?
You needed something new to fill up your life. I was not enough for you, and that was why you wanted to make a prodigy of poor little Eyolf.
I wanted to make a happy human being of him. That and nothing more.
But not out of love for him. Look into yourself. Search out all that lies under and behind your action.
If it is as you say, then we two have never really possessed our own child.
No, not in perfect love.
And now it is too late. Too late. You are the guilty one in this.
I?
Yes, you. It was your fault that he could not save himself when he fell into the water. It was you that left the helpless child unwatched upon the table.
You had promised to look after him.
Yes, but then you came and you lured me to you.
Better own at once that you forgot the child.
Yes, yes, I forgot the child in your arms. In that hour you condemned little Eyolf to death.
You too, if it is as you say.
Oh, yes, we have sinned, both of us. So after all, there was retribution in Eyolf's death.
Retribution?
Yes, judgment upon you and me. While he lived, we let ourselves shrink away from him in secret, abject remorse. We couldn't bear to see the thing he had to drag with him.
The crutch?
Yes. And now, what we call sorrow and heartache, it's really the gnawing of conscience, Rita. Nothing else.
I feel as if all this must end in despair, in madness for both of us, for we can never make it good again.
I dreamed about Eyolf last night. I thought I saw him coming up from the pier. He could run like the other boys. Nothing had happened to him. The torturing reality was nothing but a dream. If you could follow Eyolf to where he is, would you, of your own free will, take the leap over to him? Renounce your whole earthly life? Would you, Rita?
I could never go away from you.
And suppose you had the fullest assurance that you would meet both him and me there, then would you come over to us?
I should want you so much, but I never could. Not for all the glory of heaven.
Nor I. For it is here in the life of earth that we living beings are at home.
Yes. Here lies the kind of happiness that we can understand.
Oh, happiness.
You mean that we can never find it again? But no. No, I dare not say it, nor even think it.
Say it, Rita.
Could we not try to? Would it not be possible to forget him?
Forget Eyolf.
The anguish and remorse, I mean.
Can you wish it?
Yes, for I cannot bear this. Can we not think of something that will bring its forgetfulness? Or could we not plunge into something that can deaden and dull our thoughts?
Such a life would be impossible for me. No, rather than that, I would try to take up my work again.
Your work. The work that has always stood like a dead wall between us.
There must always be a dead wall between us from this time forth. Who knows, but that a child's great open eyes, watching us day and night, our love has been like a consuming fire. Now it must be quenched. It is quenched in one of us.
And you dare say that to me?
It is dead, Rita. But what in what I now feel for you, in our common guilt and need of atonement, I seem to foresee a sort of resurrection.
I don't care a bit about any resurrection. I am a warm-blooded being, and now to be imprisoned for life in anguish and remorse with one who is no longer mine.
It must have ended so sometime, Rita.
Must have ended so. The love that rushed forth so eagerly in the beginning.
My love did not rush forth to you in the beginning.
How was it then that I won you? Wait, I can guess what it was. It was my gold and my green forests, as you call it. Was it not so, Alfred?
Yes.
How could you?
I had Asta to think of.
Then it was really Asta that brought us two together.
He knew nothing about it. He has no suspicion of it even to this day.
Was Asta nevertheless? Or no? It was Little Eyolf. You used to call him Eyolf, did you not? I remember your telling me so, once, in a moment of confidence. Do you remember that entrancingly beautiful hour, Alfred?
I will not remember.
It was in that hour when your other Little Eyolf was crippled for life.
Retribution.
Yes, retribution. Well, Asta, Alfred and I have talked things out thoroughly enough.
What is this?
Enough to last all our lifetime, I say. Come now, let us go, all of us. It will not do for Alfred and me to be alone.
You go ahead. I must speak a word to Asta.
Alfred, what is the matter?
Only that I cannot endure to be here anymore.
With Rita, do you mean?
Yes. Rita and I cannot go on living together.
Oh, Alfred, don't say anything so terrible.
It's the truth. I'm telling you. We're making each other wicked and hateful.
I had never dreamt of anything like this.
I didn't realize it either till today.
And now you want to... What is it you really want, Alfred?
I want to get away from everything here. Far, far away from it all.
And to stand quite alone in the world?
As I used to before, yes.
But you are not fitted for living alone.
Oh, yes, I was so in the old days, at any rate.
In the old days, yes, for then you had me with you.
Yeah, yes, and it is to you, Asta, that I now want to go home again.
To me? No, no, Alfred, that is quite impossible.
And Borgheim stands in the way after all.
Oh, no, no, he does not. That is quite a mistake.
Good. Then I will come to you, my dear, dear brother. I must come to you again, home to you, to be purified and ennobled after my life.
Alfred, you are doing Rita a great wrong.
I have done her a great wrong, but not in this. Think of it, Asta. Think of our life together, yours and mine. Was it not like one long holiday from first to last?
Yes, it was, Alfred, but we can never live it over again.
Do you mean that marriage has so irreparably ruined me?
No, that is not what I mean.
Well then, we too will live our old life over again.
We cannot, Alfred.
Yes, we can. For the love of siblings.
What of it?
Well, that's the only relation in life that's not subject to the law of change.
But if that relation were not our relation?
Not ours? Why? What can you mean by that?
It is best I tell you at once, Alfred. The letters to Mother, you must read them when I am gone. Then you will see that I have no right to bear your father's name.
Asta, what is this you say?
Read the letters. Then you will see and understand. And perhaps have some forgiveness for Mother too.
I cannot grasp this. Asta, you are not...
You are not my brother, Alfred.
Well, but what difference does that really make in our relation? But practically none at all.
It makes all the difference, Alfred. Our relation is not that of brothers.
No, but it's nonetheless sacred for that. It will always be equally sacred.
Do not forget that it is subject to the law of change, as you said just now.
Do you mean that...
Not a word more. Oh, my dear Alfred. It is time for me to leave.
Something horrible in being alone. Thought of it runs like ice through my blood.
Alfred, you're not alone.
There may be something horrible in that too, Asta.
Oh, don't talk like that. Don't think like that.
But since you're not going with him, since there's nothing to bind you, why will you not remain out here with me and with Rita?
Oh, no, I cannot. I must go back to town now.
You must promise me that you will soon come out again.
No, I dare not promise you that. For the present.
Well, as you will. We shall soon meet in town then.
But Alfred, you must stay at home here with Rita now.
You don't leave me alone, all of you. It's getting so horribly dark. I seem to see great open eyes fixed upon me.
What if it were so, Rita? You ought not to be afraid of those eyes.
Not afraid.
Asta, I beg you, for heaven's sake, remain here with Rita.
Yes, and with Alfred too. Do, Asta.
Oh, I want to so much.
Well, then do it. But Alfred and I cannot go alone through the sorrow and heartache.
Say rather through the ranklings of remorse.
Oh, whatever you like to call it. We cannot bear it alone, we two. Oh, Asta, I beg and implore you, stay here and help us. Take Eyolf's place for us.
Eyolf's?
Yes, would you not have it so, Alfred? You used to call him your little Eyolf. Henceforth you shall be our Eyolf, Asta. Eyolf as you were before.
Remain and share our life with us, Asta. With Rita, with me, with your brother.
No, I cannot. I must go. Thanks for everything, Rita. Alfred, goodbye. 1,000 times. Goodbye.
What is this, Asta? It seemed as though you were taking flight.
Yes, Alfred, I am taking flight.
Flight? From me?
From you and from myself.
There comes the steamer. Look, Rita.
I dare not look.
You dare not?
No, for it has a red eye, and a green one too. great glowing eyes.
Those are only the lights, you know.
Henceforth they are eyes for me. They stare out of the darkness and into it.
Now she's putting into the pier as usual.
But it was there that Eyolf... How can they moor her there?
Life is pitiless, Rita.
Men are heartless. They take no thought, whether for the living or for the dead.
There you're right. Life goes its own way, just as if nothing in the world had happened.
And nothing has happened either. Not to others. Only to us two.
It was to no purpose that you bore him in sorrow and anguish. For now he's gone again, and has left no trace behind him.
Only the crutch was saved.
Be silent, don't let me hear that words.
I cannot bear the thought that he is gone from us.
You could very well do without him while he was with us. Half the day he would often pass without you setting eyes on him.
Yes, for I knew that I could see him whenever I wanted to.
Yes, that's how we have gone and squandered the short time we had with Little Eyolf. Now the steamer's on her way to town. Asta's gone.
Then I suppose you will soon be gone too, Alfred.
Has Asta told you anything?
No, but you said yourself it was for Asta's sake that we came together.
Yes, but the law of change keeps us together.
Tell me, Alfred, could you think of taking up your work again?
The work that you have hated so.
I am easier to please now. I am willing to share you with the book.
Why?
Only to keep you here with me, to have you near me.
Oh, it is so little I can do to help you, Rita.
Perhaps I could help you.
With my book, do you mean?
No, to enjoy your life.
I think it would be best for both of us that we should part.
Where would you go? Perhaps to Asta after all.
No, no, never again to Asta. Up into the solitudes.
Up among the mountains. But you could not live up there.
And yet I feel myself drawn to them.
Why?
When I was alone up there, in the heart of the great mountains, I came to a wide, dreary mountain lake that I had to cross. But there was neither a boat nor anyone there, so I went without any guidance into a side valley. I mistook the direction, and all day I went on, and all the next night. And at last I thought I should never see the face of man again. It was so strange. Both you and Eyolf seemed to have drifted far, far away from me. And Asta too. I revel in the peace and luxury of death. Here were death and I like two good fellow travelers. It all seemed so natural, so simple, I thought.
Don't say such things, Alfred. You see, you came safely out of it after all.
Yes. All of a sudden I found myself where I wanted to be, on the other side of the lake. That night sealed my resolution, and it was then that I turned about and came straight homewards to Eyolf.
Too late.
Yes.
Sooner or later you will go away from me, Alfred. You will leave me, for you think it's only here with me that you have nothing to live for. What is that?
Only fighting as usual.
Down on the beach?
Yes. The whole village down there ought to be swept away. Now the men have come home, drunk as they always are. They're beating the children. Do you hear the boys crying? The women are shrieking for help for them.
Should we not get someone to go down and help them?
Help them who did not help Eyolf. Let them go as they let Eyolf go.
You are forcing yourself into this harshness, Alfred.
I have a right to be harsh now. It's my duty to Eyolf. He mustn't lie unavenged.
As soon as you are gone from me, I will go down to the beach, and I will bring all the poor neglected children home with me, and I will take them to my heart.
You?
Yes. From the day you leave me, they shall all be here, as if they were mine, in our Little Eyolf's place.
But this is sheer madness in you. I do not know a creature in the world that is less fitted than you for anything of that sort.
Then I shall have to educate myself.
If you are really in earnest about this, then there must indeed be a change in you.
Yes, there is, Alfred. You have made an empty place within me, and I must try to fill it up with something that is a little like love.
Truth is, we've not done much for the poor people down there.
We have done nothing for them.
It was perhaps natural enough, after all, that they should not risk their lives to save Little Eyolf. What do you really think you can do with all those neglected children?
I suppose I must try if I cannot lighten and ennoble their lot in life.
If you can do that, then Eyolf was not born in vain.
Not taken from us in vain either.
Be quite clear about one thing, Rita. It's not love that's driving you to do this.
No, at any rate, not yet.
Well, then what is it?
You have so often talked to Asta of human responsibility.
Of the book that you hated.
I hate that book still. But I will try to continue it in my own way. And
What?
I want to make my peace with the great open eyes, you see.
Perhaps I could join you in that? And help you, Rita?
Would have to remain here.
Let us try if it could not be so.
Yes. Let us, Alfred. For you will see that now and then a Sabbath peace will descend upon us.
Then perhaps we shall know that the spirits are with us, those whom we've lost.
Our Little Eyolf. And your big Eyolf too. Where shall we look for them, Alfred?
Upwards. Towards the peaks, towards the stars, and towards the great silence.
Little Eyolf.